A motion by Helmut.
Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township, you know, those people that make the laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right. And whether you live in the township of Oxford, the township of Addison, or village of Oxford, or the village of Leonard, these are the people that you went and elected. And the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you chose to go to that important meeting or not, and the result can be a
Taxing.
situation.
And there's things that we add to this in order to embellish things, and it's called humor.
Humor and its distant cousin, rumor.
Rumor. All right. Now, he spreads the rumors much more than I.
Yeah, but you polish them up.
Occasionally I do, yes. And we have a number of things to polish up here. And if, like you said, if you don't attend these meetings, be expecting to receive all kinds of humor bubbling to the top or lying below the surface. But it's there.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk first of all about the Oxford Village DDA.
Downtown Development Authority.
You have it correct. And Glenn Pape, of course, is the Downtown Development Authority
Executive Director.
Executive Director, yep. Pete Schultz serves as the president of this council. Dorothy Johnston is on that board. Rod Charles serves, and Nicole Ellsworth, who owns 51st Street restaurant downtown. Nancy Rosenstrater, who is the vice president of Oxford Bank, serves on this particular board. Sue Bassardit, who is the president of the village council. Of course, Elgin Nichols would be me. I'm on that board. And Susan Schur. Now, Susan was excused. Something came up in the family and a legitimate excuse.
Okay.
So, anyway, all those people were present, including Glenn Pape, the DDA director. They did the Pledge of Allegiance, of course, and the consent agenda.
What did they consent to?
Well, they consented to proposed agenda for the evening. The minutes for May 18th, 2018 was also approved. And let me see, that took care of the consent agenda, and it was approved immediately. So we're moving on with it. The reports were the next thing in issue, and Treasurer's report was the first thing that was discussed. Bills for the amount of $12,372.14. Get your pen out.
And unlike years ago, they are in the black.
They are. And so it seems to be working pretty good, and they're watching the budgets and
Good.
the expenditures, which are more important than even the budget, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, it's called cash flow.
Cash flow. Yeah, you better have the cash flow. There it goes. It's
You
going
better
out
have
the
the
window.
cash to flow.
It's on the train. It's traveling. No, we want to keep it at home as best we can, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Revenue expense report, of course. Code enforcement was another thing that was reviewed. The activity report by police in the local community.
Anything interesting?
Not really. Just watch out for M24. A lot of tickets being given out for speeding,
I know.
running the red light.
I see the
not a good
gumballs. I
thing.
see the gumballs north of Oxford practically every day.
They are. And there's a number of other streets, too, that you need to keep an eye on.
Yep.
And one of them, interesting enough, is Oxford Lake Drive. People that are parking wrongly along the street are getting tickets. People that are not paying attention to the stop signs and running stop signs as
Wow.
well. So, and Glaspie Street is another one, and I can name others.
Is Boulder Point part of the village? No, it isn't.
No, it is
it's
not.
the township.
It
Okay.
is township.
All right.
Which I'm involved with, of course, being on the township as well.
Well, you got your hands in everything, don't you?
I do, almost. Check your pockets. Okay. Anyhow, the code enforcement, of course, was approved. Executive director's report was also received and filed. Okay. Next thing they talked about was unfinished business, which is the Lone Ranger Parade. And that's coming up, you know.
August 6th.
August 6th, and on a Saturday. And the request of the DDA was to provide some financial support, you know, for the parade and for the organization. And what they're looking to do is decorate downtown, and they need posters, that kind of thing. And there were certain amounts, you know, thrown into the ring as to what it would cost to do this. Advertising also was a consideration, and a lot of conversation surrounded the advertising. And what they're looking at is a black and white half page from Oakland Press and from Macomb Daily News, as well as Lapeer County News. And they're looking at $825 per newspaper company, but shared, split. And the question came up later, split with who? You know, it was assumed, bad to do that, assumed that the Lone Ranger
So that's
Committee
800
would cover it.
That's 800 and X number times 3?
Times 3, but divided by that, because it would be split, if it's going to be split.
Between who? They-
That's a good question. Between who? And that question came up. Between who? But anyway, it was pretty much going to be approved until they said, the question came up, by who? Is it going to be split by? And we don't mind, you know, supporting the downtown and keeping the businesses, you know, in terms of marketing and advertising.
Were they going to poll each business in the downtown area to see what kind of a split that was going to be, or
No.
was it going to be the municipality?
Well, it was an assumption that the DDA was going to share this with the Lone Ranger Committee. That the committee was going to come up with it.
Oh,
But Rod Charles says, no, they don't have any money to do this. So the question is, then who is it going to be split with? Well, no answers could be given. So that particular issue in terms of advertising, although that is one of the most important things that you can have during, you know, this type of an event, wouldn't you say? Especially if you want to expand your horizons or different areas, you know, rather than just the local here, right?
Oh boy.
So anyway, they need to look at the cost of doing the advertising and who they're going to share the expense with, and that
Might
was a
even tap
concern.
Lake Orion.
Right. So anyway, so the first motion, of course, was withdrawn to go ahead and approve it until they find out where half this money is going. The other thing was that they felt, at least Pete Schultz did as the chairperson, that they should approve the banners, or not the banners, but the what do they call them? Those, yes. Advertising that go on the windows. There's going to be roughly 75 of those produced, and they're about roughly between $3 and $5 each to produce.
Okay.
As far as advertising is concerned, that was pretty much approved, and everything else was pretty much shelved as far as the advertising, and it will be coming up, I think, in a future item on the agenda list.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say? Okay, so that's where that one ended.
Why
Next
do,
thing,
why do I see a special meeting coming up?
I don't think there would be a special meeting as such.
Well, you
although
kind-
it could. It's getting close to August here,
Yes, it is.
amazingly. 4th of July is just around the corner.
We're moving into tactical rather than strategic here.
Whatever you do, don't give those chipmunks any matches or fireworks. He's been moving them one by one. So if you folks have multiple chipmunks in your backyard,
Hey,
this guy over here,
I put them out in the Greenwood, thank you.
Greenwood. And will they ever return? Who knows? They might.
Better not.
So anyway, that's what's been going on in his particular life. Another subject that came up was the missing rider horse recommendation by Rod Charles.
The missing rider?
Ron, if you recall, Ron Rolando, who was very active in the village, passed away recently, and we sure miss Ron. And one of the thoughts was to have a riderless horse representing Ron Rolando in the parade. Pete Schultz brought about a big solution, however. This wasn't going to be the solution, was to provide either a marker or a tree with a marker, that kind of thing, that would be here for years and years rather than a one-time event, and use the money as requested, you know, for this missing horse.
In the past,
Rider.
when the military does that, don't they put boots in backwards on
They
the
do.
stirrups?
And that's the thought here.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, the cost to do this is roughly $400, and like Pete Schultz said, this
For
money
a
could-
horse?
Yeah, to use the riderless
Or are those
horse.
expensive boots?
It could be expensive boots, I'm not sure. Let me see, $200 per boot,
Well,
plus the horse. Now, he's got his own shoes, so that
I
don't
see.
count.
I see.
So anyway, so that's what came down. And pretty much the board all agreed with Pete Schultz on this one. And since they're looking at streetscape anyway, and streetscape has brought this up before as an option to include, you know, when they do this streetscape. And next thing they said is that they would approve general printing of the A-frame signs for the mask, to advertise that kind of thing, you know, for the parade and certain events going on within the stores. So the idea is keep you folks, the advertising moving and marketing for this big event that's coming soon. And talk about coming soon, we'll talk more about that when we come back. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about the Downtown Development Authority and what went on a few days ago. Excuse me. And we were talking about the advertising for downtown for the Lone Ranger and what was approved and what was not approved, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, they did, Glenn Pape talked about the grant opportunities, the TAP program, the TAP, which is Transportation Alternatives Program. And it's provided through MDOT, Michigan Department of Transportation.
To what effect?
To the effect that they're looking for like $150,000, $200,000 for the TAP, for the M24 improvement.
Oh, to go along with the MDOT update, yeah.
Right,
Okay.
correct. You remember that? We talked about that before, didn't we?
Yeah. It's the...
That was before the memory loss.
No, that's the one that goes, in 2 years, we'll be doing this.
In two
No matter
years,
what time you're talking about.
1 year plus. 1 year plus. Again.
Yes.
Okay. It all adds up.
That's a lot of years.
It's a lot of years. But I've got a pretty good feeling this is going to happen because actually Lake Orion is counting on it as well for this road to come through their area.
Are they getting an update too?
They're getting updates as we speak.
Oh,
How about that? And being there first, they're going to get the updates probably before we do.
well,
But Glenn Pape is pretty sharp and you're right on their tail. Not far behind. Right. So anyway, they did approve the 2018-2019 DDA budget as well. And that's been in the works for some time. Glenn Pape presented a copy of the new budget, and it looks like everything balances, and pretty good job. Actually,
what's their fiscal year?
this is 2018-2019 year that we're looking at.
Right,
as far as when it ends, that's a good question. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it coincides with what townships, what they do. So
Really?
it may not.
Okay.
Okay, don't have to because they're incorporated as a village separate from the township.
They're a bit, the tail being wagged?
Tail is being wagged,
Okay.
or the dog is being wagged.
I
One or
see.
the other. One of them is getting wagged. But anyway, speaking of wagging on, website redesign was the next subject that came up, and to the tune of roughly $10,584 is what the cost of it to develop it. However, there's a $2,400 per year hosting fee, which covers changes, that kind of thing, to the website as we go along.
But they haven't really chosen a site developer yet, have
Yes,
they?
they have.
They have. Who is it?
Yeah, well, funny you should ask.
I did.
There are actually three companies in the run for it, and one company came in at around $60,000, and everybody almost had a cardiac arrest and fell on the floor.
But boy, would that be a good website.
Oh, it would have to be. But anyway, a lot of the features and everything that the $60,000 company offered was available in a company called Revise One. And we did check their sites and what they've provided to other cities and municipalities, and they've done a great job. They pretty much concur or adhere to what we're looking for the village. We are, of course, looking at invoicing, those kind of things. Being able to pay your bills out there is another thing, using credit cards. So there's a number of changes that would be coming down the pike here. And it's a 5-year contract that they're looking for, and it'll be actually a by-unit, bipartisan type thing with the village being involved as well as the DDA.
More of a
each
cooperative.
sharing, a cooperative.
Yep.
$6,492 between each party. So,
And that's over 5 years.
right, and there's
Or
12.
is that per year?
Well, no, that's for the whole thing for that period to develop the website.
And it's basically turnkey for updates for employees from the DDA or township or for the village, right?
Well, you got this down pat, I can tell.
Or is it?
It is. Okay. But there's a total amount roughly of around $12,984 that's available to do this website.
right.
And we're in dire need of this website. If you folks have gone out and looked at the website that's out there right now, it's pretty much a basic website. And you don't get a lot out of it. And this is going to be a website in which you can communicate directly with the village. Actually, we'll bring into play Facebook as well, and Twitter and some other things that are going to be tied into this. It's not going to be a situation where you will be conversing back and forth as you would be in Facebook and you get some erroneous information.
Or Twitters?
Yeah, right. This is an informational thing, and it's going to be provided information for you on these various avenues. that you would have out there,
It
which
is
you don't
Twitter.
have now.
It is Twitter.
It is Twitter. It twits like a Twitter. It's got to be a Twitter. Right? Anyway, if you run into President Trump, he would probably be out there as well. So anyway, it's what's going to happen. I guess it's the way the media is moving in the future in terms of social media.
Are you saying we're going to be competing for FaceTime with President Trump?
Well, we're going to be very sociable, I can
I
tell you
see.
that. And you folks can be sociable too. And you'll get the truth of the matter when situations come up rather than rumor, which this guy likes to spread, as I pointed out.
Hey,
You get the facts. I want the facts.
even
nothing but
rumors
facts.
are somewhat based on truth.
Right. But a lot of information will be out there that's not available now, and it'll be an expandable system. So there'll be virtually a lot of other information that you can gather from what's going on in the village and what plans are within the village for the next few years. Okay, that being said, new business that came up, M24 Tech Visit is scheduled for August 13th, 2018, and the 14th.
This is by MDOT?
This would be, yes. Actually, it's a business, no, it's a different thing. There's two things going on. There's also going to be a business boot camp. Now let's get back to the other one. That would be Oakland County, representing the M24
Oh, okay.
streetscape and the tech support and what we're doing for the road for M24. And the meeting is going to be at 8:30 a.m. and you can check in. It's August 13th and August 14th. And not far away, coming around the bend here. Also, the other one I mentioned was the business boot camp for breakfast. It's for business people, pretty much downtown. So pay attention, you business people. It's going to be in Main Street. Oakland County is going to make a presentation. It's going to be roughly a 4-week program. It's going to be beneficial to you folks downtown and what's going on at the Village Conference Room. And it's going to be held, to start with, August 13th at 5:30 p.m., which is a Monday.
Is this limited to business proprietors
No,
or to
anyone-
the general public?
Anyone can come who's interested in downtown
Okay.
and development and keeping it viable,
All right.
you know,
Good.
and strong. The other meeting could be on August 14th. Again, check out with the village for the exact dates and times, but I'm pretty sure that's going to come about. And it's going to be considered a round table. In other words, you folks show up, you give your input. They'll provide, kind of information from Oakland County and from the local folks as to, what you can expect. I think maybe the designer might be there also as well for the streetscape as well, or the Main Street. Okay?
Yeah.
So, should be very informative. You folks have a commitment, a investment in downtown. Make sure that you attend this, and that's going to be August 13th at 5:30 p.m. or on August 14th at 7:30 a.m. for you early birds. And just confirm that, get back to the village, and they'll be sure to elaborate a little bit further.
And
Right?
that train is coming down the
That
tracks.
train, I can see it coming. Can you? Okay. Roundtable discussion on that one. That'll be a good one. All right. I wanted to point out that on the web development group, you had Nancy Rosenstrater, who served on that committee. She is the vice president of the Oxford Bank, Elgin Nichols, and I represented the DDA as well as Nancy. Eric Dolan represented the village council, and Joel Frost, who was absent at both meetings, but provided some input on the side.
And Joe used to be the head of the DDA.
He used to be the head of the DDA. Glenn Pape, of course, the DDA director, served on that group. And Drew Benson, who was very informative and helpful, and did a lot of work, chasing these various website companies. And Joel Maduro, who was the village manager, oversaw everything. With that, we'll come back right after this.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. Did you know that Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99 are the only television stations you can find all the events and news just for you?
Oxford News This Week is your news closer to home. Catch us right here weekdays at noon, 6:30, and 11 p.m., and weekends at noon and 11 p.m. See you there.
Ta-da!
We're done.
Did it.
Welcome back, Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we just pretty much beat the living crap right out of the DDA right now, didn't we?
Well, I guess
covered
we
everything.
did.
Anyway, good meeting. A lot happened. But now let's talk about the Oxford Community Schools, which I didn't get an opportunity to finish the complete program that they had on June 12th. So let's do that today, shall we? A lot of things went on, a lot of different schools, and students were represented at this particular meeting. And,
As the school year wraps up.
Right. And a lot of accolades given, for sports programs, arts, and those kind of things that went on. And it was very interesting. You folks can get that information by going to the school board meeting on occtv.org and checking it out, finding it out for yourself and reviewing it. But it's long running. So our short version is here.
It's all there, and it's verbatim.
It is, verbatim. And the next motion that they had was to move to approve the Oxford Village Academy curriculum for what they call through Bookshark.
Did you say it's a virtual academy?
Virtual
right?
Academy
Right.
for this one. Bookshark and, let me see, Florida Virtual and eDynamic for 2018-2019 school year. And it's programs which are provided, of course, with the Oxford Visual Academy curriculum, and it was approved. Next thing was to move to approve the purchase of items through Active Learning at a cost of $126,000. Write this down: $126,131.12.
Okay.
And that was supported and passed as well. So we're building up the curriculum for this coming year, folks. They're pretty good programs. So not pretty good, really good, I would say. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Kids are really advancing in these programs. Finance operations, and yeah, would you get your chipmunk to answer that phone, please? I hear it coming in. Okay. They're trying to come back. I see now he's put them all out in the woods, but one of them found a cell phone, I think, didn't they? Anyway.
I didn't say they were dumb.
Smart chipmunks. Got it. Financial operations, let me see what we have here. Okay. Okay, this one here is Sam Barna that gave the presentation. Great presentation. You folks can catch it out there, of course, on the meetings at occtv.org. And he did talk about new equipment, doors, for example, for security, with readers, that kind of thing, were to be installed. Handicap area also, accessible door for safety purposes. He said that there will be a number of live drills, start to participate in those in the new school year coming up. CPR program, again, he said is going to continue. That's a great program. Of course, somebody has a heart failure or, a swimming pool have an issue. I advise, all these kids get involved in the CPR program.
Because it's been updated.
It has been updated. Okay, purchase of 2 65-passenger buses. Now, this is not to be confused with the number of buses they bought in the past, which is 12 buses which have to be delivered yet. But these are 2 extra buses that's requested. And Sam requested this, Sam Barna, from the general fund.
Are these buses that are replacing ones that are going out?
Yeah, these are 2 buses that need to be replaced that have come up in the meantime. So rather than wait until the wheels fall off, bus wheels on the bus go round and round. These buses don't go round and round.
Never a pleasant thing.
Yeah, when they stop going round and round, they have to get a new bus.
I see.
So they have 2 buses coming. So anyway, so that was approved to go ahead with that. There's a couple of other things happening. If you go along the, I want to say the west side of the school where the road goes behind the school for sports events, that kind of thing, and you got the baseball field off to the right and the tennis courts. Along that road, people cut across there to go down the path to get to the softball games. Well, they're not supposed to do that. They do have people there that are trying to stop, us from going through there. He's found ways to get through there. And they're talking about putting a post up there all along that way with an access gate to be able to get into that area. So it won't be as convenient unless you have a helicopter, or I can connect him to a drone and fly him over.
Or a tank.
Or a tank. That could do it. Okay. So anyway, just one more security thing to protect kids that are going down that way. And that's a major path for the kids to travel. Sam Barna doing a great job out there, I would say. And you can, again, catch it yourself right on OCTV here. Human Resources, Foreign Language Program, staff reductions. This is one that they took a hit on, and you could tell genuinely that the administration felt bad about it, but they have to release 2 people from the program who
Is it
taught
language specific?
Yes, they're going to replace 2 people that taught Chinese because they're doing a transition over to Spanish
Ah.
for the elementary level.
Okay.
And,
Do they still teach Chinese at the high school?
He still teaches Chinese, but not at the elementary level. They're trying to get away from it and get more to Spanish.
Although they do say if you're going to learn a language, you should learn it before the age of 10.
That's why they're looking at elementary, but I don't know why they don't teach Chinese as well. But apparently, not as many people are interested, or kids are as interested in Chinese as they are in Spanish.
Oh, right. You got to have a student population that's going to justify having a teacher.
Right. A lot more people here are Spanish people speaking, than there would be Chinese.
Of course, there's what? A couple of billion Chinese that you'd like to talk to with business.
Yeah, but they're all over there. Over
No,
there.
they're not.
Yeah, they could be here too. But anyway, they're both great programs. It's just that unfortunately the way it is, that's the avenue that they've decided to take in the foreign language area. Other things and policies that came up and it was approved the second reading of was criminal history record checks for administration staff as well as professional staff and supporting staff as well. They've been a little, what do I want to say, remiss maybe, not following through on those. But now with all the things going on with the schools, a lot more cognizant of what needs to be done. And so they're going to do background checks more extensively. Control substance, alcohol policy for CMV drivers. Okay, for the drivers.
What is CMV?
That's the, those are the people that drive the buses. Yeah, that's what, I don't know what CMV stands for. Take a note. This is your job. You did?
I asked the questions. That means I took a note.
Okay, but you put it on that really large stack of yellows over there.
I
What does
see.
that mean?
That's the way I keep control.
Okay, got it.
The
Okay.
yellower it gets, the older it is.
I better move on with this then before it's too late. Eligibility of resident, non-resident students. They want to make sure that people that are eligible for the Oxford School, because they have a great program here.
Oxford is a school of choice, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
But they have to be eligible in order to be here. If they're not eligible, let's say, let me see, they come here from South America, they don't speak English, they don't speak Spanish, they don't speak who knows.
Oh, wait a minute. That's foreign.
Don't speak anything.
Those are foreign exchange students.
Right. That's what they call it. But
As
anyway.
opposed to a school of choice,
Yeah.
which is a
Yep.
slightly different thing.
And if you're across the border and you come into this border, you better be qualified. Okay.
Okey dokey.
Eligible. It's called eligible.
I see.
Right? Okay.
Audition.
Audition for it, yeah. Web accessibility and content, also apps and services, is something that they're looking at and have approved to go after and check out and make it more up to date. Same as what the village is doing here. And of course, the criminal justice information security, those things all need to be updated, and that they need to follow the rules and regulations of the state of Michigan and federal regulations. What's coming up next?
Not much. Well,
Not much.
on 7/2, the Village of Oxford at 7 o'clock will have their ZBA meeting, Zoning Board, of Appeals.
Yes.
And, well, you got to check and be sure that they're actually going to have that meeting.
Yeah.
And
Once a
on
year,
7/9 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Zoning Board of Appeals again.
Again.
Yeah. And at 7 o'clock that same day, the Village of Oxford Council.
Yes.
And
Well, the
there-
township, I know they have their zoning board of appeals quite regularly, but not so much with the village. So make sure you
that's
check.
by way of saying not much goes on in the beginning of the month.
Right. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kinney.
Catch you next time, right now, then and here and everywhere on Minutes by Minute.
Well, I'm glad we got that down.